Welcome, guys, to our home.
Our newly cleaned up.
Still a little work in progress, but a lot better. A lot better.
Yeah.
Little by little.
Thanks for helping me.
Oh, time, babe.
I appreciate it. I need lots of help in life. Thank you for that. Thank you.
So anyway, we decided that we were going to make a video touching upon some of the comments, interactions, and overall thought process of those of you that have been watching this channel, Our Lives Unfold. My flipping some more and flopping some more and all that good stuff. And what we believe as far as what Christianity is, and again, no disrespect, this is our opinion and, you know, our true beliefs from what we've grown as spirit beings.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's important that we kind of like air everything out. Since our channel is all about transparency, being open, and sharing the good and the bad, positive and the negative, and really being able to open up about ourselves, our experiences separately as individuals that led us to this place, and our lives together.
Exactly. So, where to begin? What do you want to do? Start reading some of the comments?
I don't know. Maybe we could. Or are we going to do a separate video on our beliefs and stuff like that? Or is this all one?
It's up to you. Whatever you want to do. What do you suggest?
I just think that it's important for people. Well, I think we have to close windows because we have construction going on.
Yes, there's.
And we'll probably have to turn on the fan. Maybe.
It'll keep some of that noise away. They're doing some work on the deck upstairs, and so.
Sorry, babe.
Yeah, it's okay.
It's a work in progress. We had a light on anyway in the bathroom.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So.
Oh, it was the sun.
The sun's coming in, yeah. So yeah.
So I close this to keep the noise level down.
Yeah, I guess.
Close it.
Hopefully that'll work. It's so I think we could like maybe touch upon a little bit of everything, and then maybe later on do a specific or whatever. I mean, what do you think?
I think so.
Okay.
That's good. Let's do it.
Okay.
So, a long time ago, in a city far away, there lived a little boy and a little girl.
Yeah.
No. I don't know. The water's very nice today, though.
It is. It's very.
The
very
beautiful
general.
blessings, right? No, I mean, our faith journey takes us back to our past, back to growing up, me in a rigid Christian fundamental environment, and you being raised with a very strict Jehovah's Witness grandmother.
Mm-hmm. Who obviously made me feel a lot of shame for who I am, and as well as my mother, you know. I'm not your typical person, you know, and I've explained this many times before, the substance that was given to my mother to prevent miscarriage. My voice has always been deep. I've always had things down below that are not your typical things that a typical female would have. I'm not some butch, you know, lesbian, as many of you would want me to present as. I mean, you just read me this comment.
Yeah, I just don't think people quite understand. There are butch lesbians, and no disrespect. Many of you exhibit a sense of masculinity, would probably be called like a tomboy or something. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking back in the day there was a TV show called The Facts of Life, and Joe was a tomboyish person, you know, girl, but she was definitely a female, right? She was definitely a feminine person.
And related to certain feminine things. I've never, ever related. I've always pushed it away. I've always had this, I hate to use the word disgust. There's another word, disdain, dislike.
Disdain.
Yeah, and things of that nature. And I've just never been happy with that. I've never been at peace with that, you know. And it's like, I don't need to be on anything in order for me to behave. This is the way that I've behaved from the moment I walked out of my mother's womb. I like to take testosterone because I like to build muscles. I've always liked to have a more masculine, hard-looking body. That's why I got into ergogenics back in the day and then bodybuilding, because I love that, you know. As I mentioned in my earlier video, I'm vain, and for somebody to tell me not to take,
you're so vain.
not to take,
Probably think the song is about.
right? I somebody to tell me not to take whatever. It's like, have I ever asked for advice? Do I go,
I don't know.
Hey guys, can you tell me what I should do?
I'm 57, but I need to be counseled like a 10-year-old.
Yeah.
Like a 20-year-old.
And yes, you all are emotionally invested, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Terribly sorry for the noise. I appreciate the fact that you watch the channel, you get emotionally invested, and some of you even get stressed out by the choices that we make, I guess.
Yeah, emotionally like distressed over
Yeah.
the fact that Mark has transitioned, detransitioned, and many of you will hold it against him, like as if he needs help, intervention, that he needs to get psychological help, that he needs a therapist, and it's like,
I'm quite okay with I mean, somebody else might be a space cadet about it, but you don't see me in any kind of distress. I flow into my personalities very easily, you know, and I have no distress over it. I am the same person, Maritza and Mark, same individual.
really?
Yeah.
Wait, the same person?
Yeah.
It's not different?
No.
It's not different, you guys. It's the same person. See, this is what happens. It's Maritza when this person decides to be like very disciplined and shaving everything on their body. It's Maritza when this person decides to wear makeup and earrings and, you know, all the feminine things, right? And then it's Mark when they let everything go and they just let themselves be. So which one to you is more struggle to maintain? Maritza or Mark? Which one's going to be naturally flowing in the direction that nature, and I know you say, oh, but it's not their nature, but it is. See, because when we take cross-sex hormones, they change us, right? But not only that, this person is intersex. And I don't know if many of you need to just do some research on intersex individuals. Do some research on what happens with intersex individuals, the different ways that, you know, things develop in utero, things, you know, that are not able to be changed, you know.
I mean, my voice has always been deep. I've always had things that are not your typical female things. I've had a hairy body, not as hairy as I have now since I've been on TV, but it's always been, you know, because I'm altered. I'm not your typical. So to me, the natural, and I feel at peace, is this way. It doesn't take any struggle. It doesn't take any work. I roll out of bed. I brush my teeth, you know, whatever. And yeah, I may shave a little bit down here. I'll shave my head a little bit, you know, a little Noelco, and that's it, you know, and that feels natural to me. The other is just too much work, and I just don't. You said something like, well, every time you go to Linda, you change. Well, because it's like what I feel. I have a woman in front of me, and I have the inner man in me, and it's like, that's what, you know, I desire, you know?
That's what we connected with when we first met, you know. I mean, Mark was this smooth-talking Latin heartthrob that called me, and I was smitten from the moment I heard his voice. And it wasn't, hi, I'm Maritza. Hi, how are you? I'm an intersex woman. And no, it was, what?
Hey, baby.
Oh, see, it was that. And you know, those of you who watched this person throughout the very many years that they've been on YouTube, you know, freely sharing and giving of themselves. You know, many of you have gotten advice, you know, maybe you've gotten, you know, emotional help, you know, with issues that you might be dealing with, physical fitness advice, nutritional advice, and all of this has always been done for free. Like nobody's ever like, you know, this person's been so generous with their time, and some of you feel that in that generosity, whether Mark was Mark or Mark was Maritza, or either or,
Right.
regardless, you get a phone call and you think that now you're part of like some kind of elite club of admirers or something. I don't know. People like they seem to get more and more attached to you
and demanding of my time, you know. And like I said, guys, you know, I'm very giving of my time, and I'm very personable. You know, I'll sit there and I'll talk to you guys for hours. You know, some of you that have requested that, and I do it out of the goodness of my heart, and I like interaction. But then when I remove that interaction, you know, you guys get offended and you get hurt, and I don't want to hurt anybody, because that's the last thing I want to do is hurt anybody, you know. But I can't always do the one-on-one, you know, especially now. I've got my wife to tend to, you know.
And again, this is for one specific person, but I don't appreciate you reaching out to my husband in a private text message. You're a Christian. Christian women don't communicate with people that are married like that. You don't have a relationship with my spouse. You never will have a relationship with my spouse. And I would sincerely appreciate it. RM, is it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If you would back off and leave my husband alone. Don't interact with a married person. Whether you see them as a woman, whether you see them as a man, or something in between, like Prince would say, leave it alone. Leave this situation alone. We're married, and we don't need anybody else interacting in that way with either me or with you.
Yeah.
And I hope I've made myself clear. And you know who you are. And please don't ignore this message like you did the last time.
So,
It's just frustrating because these people think that they have like this magical door to your you know, accessibility to you that allows them to say things like as if you're in a relationship with them or something.
well, that's the thing. I mean, I get people. I mean, you saw what I just read. I'm not going to mention his name, and you don't want to mention his name. He takes it, you know. But a lot of people considered me sister or whatever, this that, and the other, and considered friendship. And like I said, I'm very giving of my time, and I'll interact, and I'll even write a person back because that's who I am. I don't want to like ignore people, you know. And trust me, I get tons and tons of emails and interaction, and I try to find the time to respond. But don't get butt hurt if, you know, I don't even know how to say it. I mean, it's just like, I'm not, because I don't want to be rude. I'm not influenced by anyone in any way, shape, or form. You know, I don't want the advice. If I wanted the advice, I would, you know, completely.
Oh, I can't.
No, it can't be Zoom.
Oh, bummer.
I would ask for it. You know, I would ask for it, and not that I think that I know it all or anything like that nature. But if I'm going to make a mistake, I'd rather make the mistake and learn from my mistakes. I'm not going to sit there and try to take the easy road out or take somebody else's path. Like the person that wrote earlier about them being a butch lesbian and how they do things. That's great for you. You know, that's your life.
This is not a butch lesbian. I'm so sorry. I mean, I would say that earlier this year, and you would get offended because I'm like, you're not a butch lesbian. You're not a postmenopausal woman that's not taking hormones. You're an intersex individual who has stopped taking hormones, and because of that is now suffering with physical loss of muscle. I mean, this person responds to testosterone quite well. Not a large dosage, but enough to give the body something, because it has no capability of producing any estrogen. And estrogen for Mark has always been a nemesis. It's always been a negative. And you know, I don't know what anybody else wants to believe or wants to think and stuff. And you have your core-based belief system that you cling to and that you will not allow for anybody that would break the mold, right? If you're a platypus and you're sitting there with ducks, it's like, I'm sorry, you're still a platypus, you're not a duck. So the platypus is people like us, right? These are individuals who are obviously not the same as you. And all we want is to be left alone, right? And live our lives.
And most people don't understand the concept. Like, I see Christians trying to understand or trying to speak about transgender individuals. And it's like, for instance, and there's no understanding. So if you don't have an understanding regarding it, and I know because I've spoken to many of you, and you really don't have the grasp of what this whole thing entails, and you've like hung on my words of what I said. And yes, I've said a lot of things, but I've said a lot of things out of hurt, anger, my own shame, trying to fight it within myself. But you can't hang on to that, because no two people are alike. And the lack of knowledge that you guys have regarding this is very apparent. So here we have somebody, I don't know if we should mention their name.
This is a woman who familiarized herself with us when we both detransitioned back in late 2016, in the late summer. And she is a Christian, and she is a ex-LGBT, right? She used to identify as an L. And they have a vested interest in, you know, not allowing the trans or the LGBT to exist.
Right. And I find that because I was part of that and I hung around said groups, that in order for them to feel comfortable in what they're doing, the need to recruit others or to fully like push this anti-LGBT agenda gives them some sort of reprieve in how they feel, and it like reinforces it. Not that they believe it, because I really truly think that many do not believe what they're saying. Many may, but I truly believe many don't. So for instance here, they quote, transgender, question mark, gender cannot be biologically, scientifically, or hormonally changed, only neutered. And they're quoting Walt Heyer, which by the way, I was going to be part of a summit, and because I backed away, because I can't be a hypocrite, I can't be part of a summit that I don't believe in, I get this letter written about the person that we had scheduled for the summit.
They backed out.
They backed out, so now we have a real, like, okay.
A real star in the anti-trans movement.
Walt Heyer.
Walt Heyer lived as a woman for 8 years, and it's like, Walt Heyer, everyone, is an individual who self-admittedly stated that they dealt with a dissociative disorder for a lifetime. That is not what we are talking about here. And to have Walt Heyer represent someone who, whether they had the gender surgery or not, is irregardless of that. You know, regardless of that, it doesn't matter.
And this is a very personal journey for everyone. And I know that I used to say, no one has, no one should, because that's, you know, that's what you want. Like as a person.
It's what you want to hear.
Exactly. And it's like.
You're beating their drums.
Exactly. So they write, what they really need to work on, because somebody had mentioned, they're working on it, you know, laughing at it. So, because they take, It's like this arrogant, sarcastic
always.
tone.
It's always that.
What they really need to work on is their actual comorbidities. Find the real solution to the root of the problem instead of applying substitute and band-aids. What would you know about that? Because you're not trans. So what would you know what we need or don't need? And what would you know if it's a band-aid or not? Sometimes a band-aid is needed to prevent infection. Sometimes a band-aid is needed to prevent bleeding because you need to put that pressure. You know, it's like a band-aid is a good thing sometimes till you could get to the real solution. And what would you know what the real solution is? You know?
Well, the root of the problem will never be solved for many, so we live the best way we know how. For many of us, being who we are is effortless. Being who society wants us to be is painful. That's what Mark said. No one can know how we feel nor walk in our shoes. It's not your battle to take on. We must deal with our own issues. And sometimes we find out that there are no clear solutions. Hence, we live and love as best as we can.
You know, we're not trying to change the world. And I know that some advocates are, and we're not for that. Okay?
No.
We're just wanting to live, you know, as many trans-identified people are. But there's no solution. There's many different problems that everyone in this world have. You know, does it mean that all these problems are going to be able to get fixed? Absolutely not. Sometimes there is no fix. So you live the best way you know how. And then the person says, I know, Mark Angelo Cummings, my God declares, and we do know that we cannot judge another individual who bears their own distinct and unique image in him. But I also have to share what I believe to be eternal truth, especially when all the fields of knowledge say the same thing. For I cannot agree that living in the lie is effortless. It takes money and heart and soul and loss to destroy healthy body parts in exchange for fake substitute and lifelong dependence on harmful hormones. People take harmful substances all the time. The food you eat.
You eating sugar is probably worse.
Right. You know, people, like, they do all sorts of things that's not healthy. And you weigh it out, and you know when it's time to say no, and you know when it's time to say yes to something. That's individual. You know, it's like it's none of anybody's business what people take or don't take.
I can't imagine the pain of what you guys go through. And right there, this individual, if you're listening or watching, which I'm sure you are, right there you said it all. You don't know. That it's okay to not know. Mm-hmm. It's okay to not understand what we're going through. But don't you see it at the top of your comment? You say, but my God says, you know, that this is what things are. And we do know that this is what eternal truth is. And you speak from such a haughty position. Like you're standing on a soapbox and you're speaking down to us. You're not engaging. You're not engaging. You wanted to have a conversation with us.
But then there were like all these things that you said that made us think, like,
we don't want to be hijacked and you know, because there's an agenda.
Yeah. There's always an agenda.
There's
always an agenda. So especially here when she goes, because it's pretty long.
My own feeling is that there is much God-given diversity in being male and female, with society being the one that is guilty of compartmentalizing folk. For it is the labeling of people that has caused the misguided to coping mechanisms, the misguided to construct these other unhealthy coping mechanisms as an alternative to the life and liberty that the Creator gave us.
Like, what do you know what the Creator gave us? How come people think that they could speak for God? It's because there are 66 books in a book that have been given to us as a rule book. How do we know we could trust that fully? How do we know that there's not this?
Yeah, but how do we know that things, whatever, blah, blah, blah.
The same individuals that are pushing their stuff on others could have been the same mentality back then. You know, that's one thing I learned then when I read the Bible. It was like repeat, rinse, repeat, a lot of inconsistencies. you know, it's got a lot of good things in there, but I'm not going to base my life on a book that was written eons ago. I mean, does God not speak anymore? I can tell you that my God, the one that I believe in, continues to speak. And whenever I tap into that, that's when my life evolves. And that's when my life becomes peaceful. When I go into the Christian God or the Catholic God or the God that's like surrounded by the most popular religion, it doesn't feel right, you know, for me.
Well, and the reality is this. We look at lives, people that claim to be free from being attracted to same sex, right? Lifestyles and things like that, right? And these people, they don't have victory in their life.
No.
They've practiced the good muzzling technique. They've practiced repression. And when they get to a point where they feel frustrated enough, they have to vent and say things against other people who have freedom, who have the liberty to express and be. Like Mark and I, we live our lives like any other married couple. We're going to be working together. We just live, love, laugh, and get along with other people. That's it. Many of you, however, still, like, you know, you just, if you do any kind of research on, you know, XG or XL and stuff, you know, people, you find different people who end up speaking in Christian conferences, and they get together and they talk about their life and how they loved the same sex and how God delivered them. And then they ask them, so are you free from, I mean, are you still attracted to women? Well,
they'll tell you yes.
Why not?
I just don't act on it.
I just don't act on it.
So
it's like you're a Doberman and you have a muzzle you want to bite, but you don't act on it.
Because you're being muzzled.
Because you're in fear of eternal damnation and fiery fury of hell.
So how can that be victory? How can that be a victory at all when your thought process is still in that attraction? You see, if you're a woman and you see another woman and you get attracted, how do you find that to be victory? I don't find that to be victory.
Waldheyer was obviously not a trans woman, you know, dealing with true gender dysphoria. True gender dysphoria, anyone who doesn't understand what gender dysphoria is rare. It's only in extreme cases that people should ever venture into these waters. Any other time that anyone would ever attempt this would end up in disastrous, you know, consequences. Because, say for instance, Waldheyer, dissociative disorder, misdiagnosed as trans, goes through the surgery, you know, 8 years later, you know, and throughout the surgery, throughout the time living as a woman, they feel absolutely like an imposter, like they don't belong, like they're a fake woman, as Walt would say. And no diss on Walt. I mean, Walt has his own lived experiences to deal with, his own physical, you know, sexual abuse and other, you know, like alcoholic, you know, behaviors and stuff that he dealt with, and the whole gender thing that he dealt with as well. But using that as a platform to do harm to a group of rare individuals who are truly trans is a dangerous thing, and it's hurtful, and it's destructive, and it's very misleading. Very misleading.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm guilty of doing that. But part of it all is one wants to be told that a boy, that a girl. One wants to feel for a moment in time not the shame that once used to being, that feeling of shame that once used to, and it's just like, oh, I'm this now and you're not, and you know, that kind of
I could sense it when you first mentality. You know, when you did what you did with detransitioning, the few times that you've done it,
and basically you
feel like, you know, hey, I'm part of the good club now.
Yeah, because that's how
I'm
you
not
feel.
a bad kid anymore.
Exactly.
Right.
But once that wears out and you start to realize, wait a minute, who am I kidding? Who am I? It's like, I could only be me. I'm not going to put myself in a box, nowhere near a box, you know, and I feel comfortable presenting in my masculine expression. I like big muscles. I like, you know, my body to have, you know, the appearance. Like right now, I lost a lot of muscle and lost a lot of weight, and I'm not comfortable with that. I don't know if that's gender dysphoria. I don't know, because I don't like labels, okay? I just know that I like to look a certain way and feel comfortable a certain way, and if that's gender dysphoria, if that's what it's called, I'm not much for diagnosis and labels, you know, because I know what that can do to people. Then I'm guilty as charged, but, you know, I just want to feel comfortable in my skin, you know, and I don't have to push my ways on others. You know, that's why I don't agree with the whole advocacy. I think it goes overboard, and I think that's very individualized kind of thing between your medical professional and you.
But, you know, regardless of advocacy or not, I mean, we're not just talking about advocacy in the sense of like trans community,
right,
pro-trans. We're just talking about advocacy in general, like political advocacy. Anything that would stir up this black versus white,
and they do it on
racial
purpose.
discrimination, you know, rich and poor, class
Class
wars and financial stuff. I mean, it's like we're not for any advocacy.
No, I don't want to be. I don't want to wave anybody's flag.
We're not here to do anything. We're not here to promote trans lives. We're not here to, you know, because many trans people or people that call themselves trans are like Walt Heyer. They're dealing with other issues, other comorbidities, right, that are affecting them, and they're being given a way to cope with it. And you know, sometimes people need a Band-Aid. And if trans identities are a Band-Aid for some people to walk through and then walk out of, then who are you to judge?
Right.
It's like if someone had to learn a lesson by becoming or feeling like they were the opposite gender and then realizing they weren't, and learning and growing and appreciating the other gender better, and then they transition better, and now Walt's married.
That's good for him.
You know, that's great.
But to say it that, you know, the way they go, you have flipped and flopped several times over the years, but you cannot speak for nor judge those who have gained the victory like Walt Heyer. Gain the victory. Right there. Look at those words.
It's like a battle.
It's like a battle. Like you lost the battle, but they won the battle. And it's like, no, it's not a battle. It's life. It's like life is messy.
I prefer to go with the winner. You're a loser.
Yeah.
You're a loser, Mark.
And it's like, it's not a matter of winning or losing. It's not a matter of victory. It's not even a matter of God. You know how many people detransitions who are atheists? So who do you give the glory to? Why do we have to give the glory to anything? But realize that there are certain times in life where we make mistakes, we refocus, recenter, and we take another path. It doesn't have to mean devil versus, you know, God. It doesn't have to be that way. It's just evolutionary growth as human beings. You know, that's basically it.
There's a YouTuber online that goes by the name Lee, and Lee detransitioned from being a trans man, didn't want to be identified solely as a man, and you know, got some effects of the testosterone. He was happy living in this in between Peter Pan, boyish, teenish kind of state, and they are completely content with life. They're grateful for the ability to transition. When they did, they accept that was a place and a part of their life that came and went. Now they're in a different place. They don't judge others. They don't make others conform to what they want. And I know it's difficult when you have a God who's all about thous and thou shalt, thou shalt and thou shall not.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, or if you do, you're going to hell. If you don't, blah, blah, blah. I know it's horrible. You know.
The arrogance, so like right now, they just wrote 8 minutes ago.
Of course.
And they go, of course an omnipotent God doesn't need on our behalves, but he has initiated a plan that enlists human collaboration in loving our fellow man in the spiritual war against principalities and powers. So prayer is indeed key for the elect who are yet to cross over to the other side.
Anyone's unbelief or non-participation in the heavenly agenda does not negate God's commands for generations to fulfill this mandate and covenant until his return. All this is elementary, dear Watson.
Again, arrogance.
Notice the haughtiness.
Haughtiness, and that it's like, I know it all. I'm a Christian and I know it all.
And for your information, biblical whiz kid in Jamaica, why don't you look at where your kingdom is supposed to be? Because there is no heavenly kingdom. Jesus, God isn't coming back to bring you to heaven in your Christian faith. If you really did some study and research on your belief system, the kingdom is not in some heavenly realm. It's bringing the kingdom to this earth eventually after the millennium and after the new Jerusalem comes down. What we're supposed to be here on this recreated earth. There is no going to heaven, going to streets of gold. That's all created. That's all manufactured, man-driven nonsense.
It's a fear tactic to keep people at a certain level and a certain behavior. And it's, if you look back, when Constantine and all these different individuals and King James, and it's all a control factor. Christianity is just one small part of a belief system. There's many different belief systems, and to believe that there's only one way, one path is incorrect. I mean, you go to a certain address, there's not just one way to get there. Google will give you 3 or 4 different routes that you can take. Well, the same thing is about your spirit evolution. You want to believe in your Jesus, you want to believe in the way you believe in God, that's great, Let's learn to coexist and get along. Let's learn to respect each other's views. I'm willing to respect Christianity if Christianity is willing to respect the beliefs of others and not push it the way that you do. And that's where the argument, the haughtiness,
it's elementary,
dear Watson.
Oh, and then she goes on in another part talking to the individual who was offended by you saying that they were wanting you to talk to them before you got back with me.
Oh, yeah.
Remember?
Yes.
And that person was somehow offended by you, and they think that you mischaracterized their intent.
And it's clear as day the way they wrote it, but...
I mean, that's the thing about texting. That's the thing about the lack of the ability to be human with one another and interact in a meaningful human manner. That's what I enjoy about my job, is being able to interact with people. And that's what lacks, because he gets offended and then someone backs him up. And what does she say? The same person. She says, a lost cause. That's what we are a lost cause. Tells him, oh no, don't engage with those reprobates anymore. They are a lost cause.
Right. Mark has now deliberately chosen another path, and he is right that we should forego any prayer for the likes of those individuals who don't desire the same.
So, we only send up a general intercession on behalf of God's foreknown who are yet to come into his light and love, forgiveness. John 17 in action. Smiley face, of course.
Or a wink. A little winky face.
Oh, wink. Lord have mercy, Mark-Angelo Cummings. That is the point that I am making. You don't want the prayer, so I'm agreeing that we shouldn't force it on you. Geez, why are you always seeking to pick a fight? Can't you just cease and settle? You want us to cease and settle, and then you come up...
A lost case and cause.
Yeah, and you call us a lost case. You don't think that's offensive.
That's the thing.
That's so haughty of you. It's so prideful. You don't have the right to speak down to us. You are human, and you wipe your butt with the same piece of toilet paper that we do.
And look at more haughtiness here.
Just for general edification, people, this individual has transitioned and detransitioned and retransitioned umpteen times. each time the pendulum swings in one direction, he champions that particular cause. And when he switches, he fights against the side that he was previously valiantly defending. I am not here to judge anyone's personal choices, but don't be deceived, capitalized, into thinking that he can speak with any authority against or about an Almighty God. Please, enough already. She engages with us.
Right.
And then she turns herself into the victim, like a good narcissist does.
Yeah, like personally messages us that she wants to have a conversation with us.
No judgment.
Right.
And then, like a few comments later, you find her judgmental attitude in the comments, and we say, you know what? I think it's better that we don't engage with you, because all you want is to be pontificating your point. And you don't want to have an open mind. You don't want to engage with us in a loving, compassionate manner.
And if anyone could speak with authority, somebody like me who's been there and done that, has walked. I'm like a spy. I've walked on both sides, and I see it clearly on both sides. That's why I say I'm not carrying anybody's flag. I'm just me. But I could intelligently speak whether one side or the other, and I can intelligently see the flaws of both sides.
And this idea that everything has to be a battle, this pitting against the others. It's like, you had somebody that wanted you to talk in Canada or something, that reached out to you because they want you to like wave your flag of like, support for destroying the trans community. And I mean, it's like, it's really apparent that you guys are after blood.
But it's so funny because when I'm waving the flag to whatever side, I am the most intelligent, the most wonderful, the most, and as soon as I no, I'm not doing this anymore. This is just,
And then they do their best to discount you by saying, everyone, listen to what I'm saying.
This person
is not to be trusted. Don't be deceived. Capitalize. Like, they want to purposefully cut you down, and they want to deplatform you, delegitimize your voice.
Again, it's the fear, because I know too much. I've walked the waters on both sides. I know exactly the lines. I could finish the sentences of Christians, and I could finish the sentences of trans people. I've been on both sides. That doesn't invalidate my lived experience. That gives me a powerful voice, because I could look at what each side has to offer.
And many of you liberated and redeemed L's and G's, you're really not. You're really fooling yourselves because you think you're delivered, but you're actually just repressed, and you're miserable. Many of you will never marry the opposite sex because you're not attracted, and you're being given that mandate that says you can't be happy, you must follow. I'll be your husband, I'll be your bride, whatever, right? This Jesus character that you serve is telling you you don't need anybody. But what is it that every love song is written about? What is it that people have careers for, sacrifice for years over? What is it that people go to school to get educated so that they could make money, so that they could provide for their spouse and find that perfect person? What is it? It's a relationship with another individual, not with some ethereal presence in the sky that's not talking to you.
That's one thing I could never understand. It's like, oh, Jesus. And again, I don't want to be known as like what this person is saying, that I purposely go and do whatever. It's like, no, see, it's like you guys probe and pick and continue to hold in. It's just like
it's like they say, don't listen to this person. Like, don't allow this person to speak. Don't give this person any ear, because they're a fool and they're crazy and they're not worth listening to. Yet many of you, 6,000 plus, come back to watch.
Right.
To watch the soap opera.
Right.
That is our life, was your life alone, unfold. And at any particular moment, it's entertaining, you guys, because you don't know which way the pendulum is going to swing. Because this person is obviously an anomaly as a human.
And I won't settle for any boxes. And, you know, I'm not afraid to speak my mind. I'm not afraid to show my real life right here in front of your very eyes. And for that, you want to, like, silence me. You want to, like, discredit me. You want to, like, say all the things that you're saying. Yet you come in personal message, you know, me, like many others, like that other Ross person that now they're apologizing for the things that they said online.
Well, it was very appalling, Russ. It was very appalling.
Yeah.
Obviously, you were very offensive. And you've come to understand that you needed to apologize. And it's like, what do you think? That you could just, you know, take a crap on somebody online and say things and then feel like you just, like, have that freedom? And many of you do. You feel like through the keyboard that you have this liberty to just spew whatever you have in your mouth out. And even your own Bible tells you, be slow to speak, quick to listen. Meditate on the things you're going to say before you blurt them out and hurt people. Because, you know, prayers and stuff, like she said, we're not going to pray for you specifically anymore. We're just going to pray a general prayer over. It's like, how do you even measure what you're doing? All we know is that whatever comes out of your mouth has power. You don't realize it, but the power is not from above. It's within that's allowing you to create things, air things, and say things that are going to cause damage in others. You can create disease in others by your words. Telling someone that they're not worth anything is going to damage them. MR. And MR, you literally have no scope of any degree of compassion. You are a repressed L who needs to vent. And you did not get delivered. You're still not delivered from whatever it is.
And
it's ridiculous.
When you have to wave that flag so immensely, so intensely, there's something to be said about that, because you're trying to convince yourself, and that's what I see a lot in the said community, the said X community. It's like, you know, you have to really convince yourself, so you have to tell others, and you have to, that's all people do day in and day out, and that's what I was doing for the past 6 months, and frankly, it was not satisfying. It became to the point where I can't do this anymore. I can't. I got burnt out. That's why I said I need a sabbatical. I need to go get away from all of this, you know. And I just...
Well, we knew that sharing the news of me coming back into your life was going to be a cannonball explosion over the Christian community, because I'm Baphomet. You know, I'm evil. I'm the one that is like somehow luring you back to this life of miserable sin and...
No, I just saw that you were going to end up killing yourself, and it's like I had to stop eating doo-doo and go back to my duties of being the husband that I swore to be till death do us part, you know. And I know many of you don't understand that, but that's the role that I play, you know, and that's what I feel. And the other was just a high fever, you know, that prolonged itself for 3 weeks, and then we had been venturing to the church thing for a little bit, and then
anytime we venture into the church thing, it always ends in a disaster, because the only thing to be found in the church is guilt, shame,
yeah,
condemnation, you know,
feeling less than, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's like,
I don't want that, you know. I'm that just, it doesn't. How suicidal! I mean, it's like there was. My creative mind, the person that I am, just felt so squished because it felt so limited. Well, this is all I got to work with now. This little book and this little, you know, belief system. And it's like, I can't do that. You know, it's like the universe is vast. We are eternal beings with so much potential. And we're here to evolve and grow. Not to be some, you know, like worshiping fool. I'm sorry, that's how I feel. We're more than what we are led to be, or led on to understand who we are, you know. And it's just like, I can't, you know. You guys want to do that, by all means, please do. I'm not one to stop you, you know, but don't
And
go
we're
pushing
not
your
like
stuff.
going over to some other side to advocate against you or against the trans community or for the trans community or for the L or D or B or T or Q or I or A or whatever. We're just here to live and love.
That's it.
That's it. I love Mark. Mark loves me. This is how we work. This is who we are. You don't understand. You don't have to watch, right? You can find Walt Heyer's channel.
Yeah.
Go watch Walt Heyer.
Yeah, he's pretty consistent.
He's got a lot of books he wrote, and mistakenly, you guys think that that's trans.
Yeah.
And you have people like him speaking on our behalf. People that weren't trans in the beginning to come and say things against the trans community. And say that, oh, it's just, what did he say? He said something about whatever in that quote.
And bottom line, people's lives...
Neutered.
Yeah, people's lives should not be scrutinized and pulled apart and used as an example to shame and to create guilt-ridden thoughts. And it's people's life are individual. It's their journey. No religion, no God, no nothing should be involved in people's development. We are here to grow and evolve and learn. You know, and the other is just dogma. The other is just another AA organization trying to tell you that you can never do this again or you can never do that again. It's like, no, everyone has their journey to embark on. And we are no one to interfere.
You know, the crazy thing is that the person that we've been talking about in this video, MR from Jamaica, she lives in a country that is so heavily anti-LGBT that if she was to be found out to be an L or a man was found out to be G, then they would be killed. They would be killed. That's the degree of discrimination and hatred that there is against people.
And all based on religiosity. Is that the kind of God you want to serve?
All based on religiosity.
Is that the kind of God you want to serve? Because I sure as heck don't want to serve that kind of God.
And that God is all over your Old Testament.
Mm-hmm.
That God is everywhere. That God told Peter to allow Ananias and Sapphira to die because they lied about giving monies to the church or to his ministry, and that he allowed them to, like, his God pronounced the death curse over them and killed them on the spot. Separately, they were buried together. That's a story in the Bible. That's the kind of God you serve, one that is willing to kill you or to bury the families of many Hebrews underneath a pile of rubble out in the wilderness because they chose something different.
And that's just one God. Okay, that's just one God in this system, computerized system. It's just one program. There are many programs. Whichever program you decide to follow or place in your hardware, you know, that's the kind of life that you're going to be leading. To tell somebody that their program is not the correct program, that this program is, it all depends on what you like to use. Some people use PC, some people use Mac, some people use whatever, Lumix, whatever other types of programs there are. That's all this world is. You have to figure out that this is not at all a simple fairy tale story that the Bible is telling you. There is deeper things beyond your human understanding or capabilities. Don't allow yourself to be put in a box and to just surround yourself with one type of belief system, because there is more to it than that. It is deeper, it is heavier than you can even imagine. Evolve and grow. Break free from the chains, the limitations that this planet has placed you. This is 3D. There's many dimensions. Allow yourself to look beyond the 3D dimension.
It's in the Bible. If you wanted to, it's coded in there. Mm-hmm. Paul says that it's like looking through a glass dimly. You know, like you don't see the big picture. Mm-hmm. You don't see that, you know, like the color spectrum. What you think is all the colors that exist, that's just only what our limited human capabilities will allow us to see.
Yeah.
Because animals have like even a broader range. Mm-hmm. They see better than we do. They see more variety. It's like, this may be a multicolored, faceted thing, but out the window here, this beautiful lakeshore, but we don't see it. We see green and brown and blue, and we just see a few colors. There's so much more.
It's all dependent on the speed of the frequency that is being generated that allows all these particles and atoms and protons to vibrate together and show you what you're seeing, what your senses are seeing. But there's things beyond your senses, and there are multi-levels of deities out there. This is a spiritual battle. It's a battle for your soul because they're trying to control you so they can control the bigger picture. Don't allow yourself to be controlled, because when you lose that control, you're in trouble. You're really in trouble.
This is the perfect scenario for painting you into this little planet, telling you that you have this little life with this little savior that came to this little planet. And it is little, because you look at the cosmos around us, and there are planets that are enormous, like the size of many suns, And here we are in this little blue-green planet. And to tell me that this is what life is all about, is this little blue-green sphere of speck of whatever.
It's like a speck of sand in the vast of sands in the entire world. It's bigger than you can even imagine. I, for one, cannot live in that limited world and that limited belief system, because as I'm reading the Bible, as I'm reading and hearing things, I'm like, there's no way that's all there is. There's just no way. I couldn't. I mean, as I was saying things, my inner voice is telling me, that is just very limited.
And that's what I was thinking.
That's not.
I mean, the first thing when I first met Mark was when I was trying to recover. We went out to this area called Boston Hill, and in Boston Hill, there's an old mine area that's been excavated, and there's like canyons and stuff. And in one little slot canyon, you could touch a rock and another rock. And he goes, come here. I go, what? He goes, did you realize that the land is alive? That the rocks are alive? And I go, my limited Christian belief system said, that's an inanimate object. That's just a stupid rock. I mean, people make things out of it, it's no big deal. I touched one side. He had me touch the other. And I felt this pulse of electromagnetic current that went through one arm and out the other and touched the other rock. And it was like, whoa. We're at the park. He stings me with this energy, this inner energy that goes and just touches my stomach. And I'm like, whoa.
It's the chi.
I think my nervous system, as compromised as it was, felt it even more so because I was healing. Yeah. But it's that inner energy. You guys might want to call it demonic. You call anything demonic.
I
mean, the traditions and practices of the native cultures, those are demonic too. You call those people barbarians and savages.
Yoga, which is a very healing type of therapy and practice, you call that demonic. You call anything that you can't understand and put in a little box that doesn't fit your Bible, you call that demonic. Well, I'm here to tell you, no, you're incorrect. If anything is limited and demonic, and calling demonic as a form of energy that is away from a different type of energy, okay, because everything's energy. You have to understand that everything's energy, and we are energy. So you've got a negative and a positive. It doesn't mean the negative is bad and the positive is good. It's just two opposing energy force. And that's what this whole thing is about, because it's needed. You need that to grow and repair and heal. And you've got abilities beyond your understanding. I learned that from a very young age when I was able to do so many things. I died and came back to life when I was 1 year old. And ever since then, I've had all this amazing, and you've seen stuff that
I have. And then, the thing is, like, even nature itself, animals that live in an environment that's diurnal, they live in the dark. We need those animals. Mm-hmm. Those animals help this planet, and they do their work in the dark, right? A sunflower can't grow
Without the darkness.
unless you put it into the ground, bury it so deep, cover it over, leave it in the dark, let it die. It rebirths itself, and it allows itself to grow
When
after that.
When I was growing stuff, and I would do stuff from seedling, I would have to cover it with another type of thing so that would get no light, and then they push their way up. And it's amazing how you see how they lift this heavier object, because that's what you do. You need diversity to grow. You need pain in order to grow. It's part of what we are here to do.
Everything in the light isn't good. I mean, too much sun will burn you, right? If you're constantly living in the light, you're constantly going to be having to protect yourself from what? From getting burned. So we need the dark.
Yeah.
We need the yin, the yang, the both elements of life, right? To interact with us, to flow with us, to feel with us. And the darkness is a good thing.
And knowledge is important. Wisdom is important. And that's one of the things that the particular belief system doesn't want people to grow and learn. They want to keep them little. They want to keep them dumb. They want to, don't go doing that, because then, just like the storyline between Eve and the serpent, it's like they paint the serpent as something really bad, but there are certain things that happen that allow growth, evolution, freedom. You know, and I know you all don't believe that. Trust me, I study the same thing that you all are studying, and I push the same thing you all are pushing. And that's why I believe I'm an important factor, because I'm able to weigh things out, and I'm able to see this side, and I'm able to see that side. Why? Because I've walked on both sides many times.
And the back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, that only speaks to the ability for this person to bend and to bend back, like a beautiful palm tree that is able to take a beating in a hurricane. If it was only a big oak tree, it would get broken down and it would be splintered. But my person here, whether you see them as a man or a woman or something in between, was able to do this, and when the wind blows the other way, can go like that.
And I can do it like this. So what?
That's a beautiful thing. And you're jealous of it because you can, and he can't.
Yeah. I mean, who was it? The lady from Canada. When did this happen?
But
it's just so sudden. Well, that's how I roll. I mean, I don't sit there. It just flows. It flows. I could very easily flow like that. You know?
Easier to flow in this direction
Yeah.
than the other direction, but that's because of the limited thing you did with the T and stuff. And the fact that you're intersex makes you lean towards that other side much more gracefully.
And this is a side that I enjoy, frankly. You know, it's a side that I've very easily and effortlessly go to. How it goes, folks.
No, I know it's not easy to understand. If you're a Christian, you're watching this channel, and you're offended by our presence, I'm sorry. I can only be me. I can only be who I am. And we don't claim to be the opposite gender. We don't claim to be any of it. We just live. And society can make whatever pronouncements over us that they want to make, or distinctions that they want to make.
Right.
But we don't worry about it.
We just live, you know, and it's hot. I believe that we have a lot to offer. When it's on, it doesn't get hot. It flows. That little thing works pretty well. I just wish it wouldn't make so much squeak, squeak, squeak birdie noises.
We just whack it.
Yeah.
No, it's worse.
No, it's worse.
Stop it. Here we go.
Yeah, but you notice how that does give some reprieve, massive reprieve?
Oh, it does.
It does.
That's a huge difference.
We wouldn't have that reprieve in Arizona heat. And plus, our home is sheltered pretty much
from the massive heat.
Yeah.
But it's moody.
It's moody. It just makes noise. I have to open it up and find out what's going on.
Yeah.
Anyway, you know, I know y'all trying to do what you do because it helps you. It's okay, baby.
It's all right. You can continue.
You all feel that by me changing my mind somehow, some way, it just pick it up, like pick it up and bring it down. There we go. It takes away from your life, your story, your being, and it doesn't. We all are here to follow our paths, you know. And I'm just a person that, like my beautiful wife says, I'm like a palm tree. You're not going to see me be like this. And when I'm speaking on whatever side that I'm feeling at the time, I believe it full-heartedly. You know, doesn't mean I'm lying. Doesn't mean whatever. It's just
full-heartedly, not full-heartedly. Full.
Eso. So anyway, I think we've rambled quite long.
I think we have.
Yeah.
But I hope it's been informative.
Yep.
I know it's been offensive for many of you who gravitated to this channel, especially in the last 6 months. And I know you're probably disappointed. And you want to let this person know. But I would ask you to kindly choose your words wisely when communicating. Because using judgmental conversation,
it only gets me worse.
Just riles this person up. And
then I'm being blamed.
I try to put out the fire, but sometimes the fire that you guys make is too hot for this person to put off. You know, they can handle so much. Again, you're dealing with a Cuban. Need I say more? Do they not have a reputation for being fiery?
Ricky Ricardo.
Passionate? I mean, just look at their relationship with Lucy on the Lucy, the I Love Lucy show.
Yeah.
When Ricky would get upset, Ricky would go off and speak a trillion words in Spanish. You're like, mira tu mujer, blah, 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 blah. All upset, right? And she knew when she got him ticked. Yeah. So don't tick off the Cuban.
Yeah.
Be graceful. If you want to be conversational, we love to have a conversation. We were open to a video chat, but not if it's this one-handed, one-sided, arrogant, let me come at you with the Bible, throw scripture at you, have my haughty attitude person like that one in Jamaica. No, we don't want to converse with a person like that. You know, we don't want to converse with someone who's already made up their mind.
Who, like, speaks the way they're speaking.
Yeah, speaking like
lost
that.
cause.
And then they're saying, you're a lost cause. Everyone, don't listen to them because they are...
And then they all use that flip-flop thing.
Like,
it's like, listen, you should all know better. You know? You should know better. It's not a matter of flip-flopping. It's just a matter of whatever. I don't even know what you want to call it. It's just living. Living.
You know, it's called making mistakes and getting up again. Some of you would call it sinning. Right? You miss the mark, and then you reset yourself, and then you aim, and you let go, and you hit a bullseye this time. That's not sinning. Missing it is sinning. And that's supposed to be evil, wrong, wretched, burn in the fires of hell. No, that's learning. That's an ability to adjust for the wind, for the circumstance that you went through as a child growing up, your sexual abuse. Maybe you have to aim at a different location now because before you tried that way that other people tell you to try, but it didn't work for you because you've been tainted by whatever issue that you've had to deal with. So you correct yourself and you're able to grow, learn, become a better human, become more loving, more compassionate, more understanding, less judgmental. I know for me personally, when I walked as a Christian before I transitioned, that I was so judgmental towards people. I literally pulled out of an event that I was doing. I was doing a fashion show slash musical presentation thing in Minneapolis. And the reason I pulled out was because they had one little segment in the production a gay choreographer had it before 2015 happened and marriage was legalized, gay marriage. And I decided to make a stink. And I said, oh no, I can't work because they're doing this one segment on gay marriage. And it's like this little song, like going to the chapel or something like that. And they just had same-sex couples, in the thing. I'm sorry, I can't do it. So I pull out my hi-hat and I pull all my gear out, make a big stink. Everybody knows about it. I get like kudos from Christians and thank you for standing your ground against the L and G and for doing this. And I felt like I was like doing the right thing because I was pleasing people like you. And the reality was I was just being a bigot. I was hiding my own gender confusion issues. I was just trying to vindicate my own feelings and repressed nature. And I just didn't care to hurt the gay choreographer.
And we have to understand that, there is an agenda. There is a massive agenda out there. And, but people live in that particular lifestyle. They're not the agenda. They're just trying to live their lives. So we can't put everyone on the same box, and we can't try to crucify everyone because there are a set of political individuals that are trying to use those in the LGBT community to push whatever it is that they want.
Why is it that the Christian community struggles so much with divorce? Numbers in the Christian community have always seemed to be higher than the standard. People that don't identify as Christians have a lower divorce rate. Why is that? Why is it that Christians can't get along with each other? And why is it that they can't get along with people like us or people that aren't like them? Same denominations fight with each other. Catholics don't like charismatics. Charismatics don't like Baptists. Baptists think that Christians are going to hell who believe in speaking in tongues. It's this constant onward Christian soldiers going after war. It's like with the cross, it's like what are you? Are you in for the battle or are you in to love people? Seems like many of you are just here to battle. Bringing the kingdom to the earth by means of whatever means necessary. Some of you use prayer, and believe me, your prayers are powerful.
But it's not
we
because
fight your prayers.
But not because we believe that prayer in itself is powerful. It's the intention. Because it's not the fact that God is sitting there and selectively choosing to grant you your prayer. It's the fact that your way of thinking, thought process is powerful. You can move a mountain. Jesus even told you. Okay? Because Jesus came here to free us from the repressed religiosity. Why do you marvel at what I do? You too will do greater things than I. The kingdom of heaven is within you. We have abilities. We have capabilities. We don't have to sit there and be this little servant and pray for things. You can create it. You can manifest anything you want. And that's why you believe that prayer is working, but it's not the prayer that's working. It's your mind, your intent.
And the more of you that intentionally come together and agree on the same thing, the more powerful the result. Exactly. Hence why you see the certain things that happen on this planet. Yeah. Those that would want to control us, they seek to get us to hive mind our thoughts into one thing, as you saw last year with the election. That whole chaotic thing that happened after George Floyd and all the things that took place, all of that is intentionally created to make us drive our direction of thought into that which would please and serve those who want to seek to manipulate situations here in this planet. And that's the thing that you guys don't see. You don't see other things that are going on in other realms. You don't see it.
No.
They don't want you to see it.
You're so one mind focused, narrow-minded, tunnel vision. There's so much more that you do not understand.
Yeah, you're so afraid of escaping hell that you can't even understand what's happening here on earth.
And what if hell is something to refine you, to make you better? It's not something that is there to hurt you. And there are certain entities that don't want you to venture in growth, so they provide that fear factor. But think beyond the box. Understand that you have such potential. Just like I could go from one thing to the other, that's very godly-like.
Godlike. We're transformational beings.
Yes.
Right? We break that mold because there is more to life than just A plus B equals C. You know, it's more than that.
Your dress looks very nice on you, by the way.
Thank you, babe.
Yes.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I always love it when my husband gives me compliments.
It's a very beautiful woman. Extremely beautiful woman.
It's a great thing.
I feel very lucky.
No, I'm lucky. I'm lucky I have you. TMI.
The most amazingly beautiful woman in the world. I'm smitten.
I'm smitten by you. But this is going to turn into a soppy love story.
Well, they need to understand that that's what it's all about. Stop worrying one another. Stop depriving yourself. And live, love. Like I say, love is the elixir of life. You want to heal? Allow love into your life.
And, you know, if we love each other, however you see us, just be happy for us that we made it.
Yeah.
I mean, this has been a struggle. This marriage has been hard fought. We've struggled.
Yeah.
We've really struggled.
Yeah.
But the love has always been there.
Mm-hmm.
And the issues that were there, they've helped to refine us to become better people, working through our issues and things. And I appreciate those of you who have sent your support and given us wonderful encouragement and everything. And we totally appreciate you guys. And you know, when you see love, you know that it's there. You know you can appreciate it. Many people will never have what we have there. Never know it.
And people search a lifetime to have what we have.
They do. And people that know what that is like respond and they say things accordingly. They say, it's okay, Mark and Luna. People will not understand. They'll never have an opportunity in this lifetime to experience what you guys have with each other. And even if you choose to walk away from each other, you still manage throughout the words, throughout the negative comments, throughout the hurtful things that you do to each other, you always find a way back to each other because the universe is the one that drew you together because you are literally one. And when one is separated from oneself, one seeks to come back to oneself. And this is the case with Mark and I. We are twin flames.
And for those of you who don't understand that, and for those of you that wish to see us apart and try to do everything within your power to do that separation, I say shame on you.
Yeah,
there's something
seriously.
very wrong with you.
There is. I mean, if you literally thought that you could talk to my spouse and encourage them not to come back to a marriage that we had committed to, that's just wrong. And I know you want to say that, oh, that was not my intent. I was just a brother in the Lord trying to help a sister. No. If you were speaking division against me, against him, against us from being together,
or anybody that has so-called pretended to be your friend and whatever is now trying to like put curses on us and talk and like not understand our relationship and think that they could like rule you.
Well, yeah, I mean, I have one particular individual who's been special to me throughout the last 3 years or so, and when we got back together, they helped me with my tires, they helped me with, finding a place, and helped me getting a piano and getting, bicycles and stuff. They helped me, like, just encouraged me and everything. And we get back together and they're like silent, or what they do say is, I'm not okay with this at all. It's awkward. It's not right.
It's like,
and
I don't have a choice.
It's like, that's not what a friend is here for. I mean, a friend is there. If you're a true friend, you're there to support people. Your friend. I did nothing wrong. I just went to Arizona to reunite with my husband. That's it. And I know that people don't understand it. I know that people are going to go, gosh, you guys, I don't understand your back and forth thing and how you break up and get back together. Did you guys know that, you know, was it Elizabeth Taylor and Robert something? They broke up 6 times. They married and divorced or something. We're not there. We did it once. We were about to do it twice. You know, and it's just, you guys don't understand.
And it's like, we're not asking for opinions.
We're old.
Yeah, you know, it's like, we're going to do what we want to do.
I could be a grandparent. You could be a grandparent. I mean, it's like, we literally are seniors at this point.
I think it's, you know, a positive that we were able to save our marriage. And this time around, the love that, I mean, from all the adversity, from all the pain, from all the fire, we're refined.
Pressure.
We're refined. We have never had what we have right now. It's 10 times better. And if that's what it took for us to see and understand, then so be it.
It's just how it is. And again, most of you won't understand what we're talking about.
And that's okay. You don't need to.
All right.
I
guess that's it.
Yeah.
We're all talked out.
Yeah.
For now.
For now.
I'm sure we'll be back.
Yeah.
I guess they stopped drilling.
I guess it's a good thing they did what they did, because if it needed reinforcement and different,
we didn't want people
falling on top of us. That would kind of.
That stinks.
Yeah.
All right, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Sorry if we offended you. We're not going to apologize if we don't line up with your belief system, and you know, and that you want us to conform. We're not going to conform, but we do want to coexist. We do want to live in the same universe as you do, the same planet, share the same spaces with you, and hopefully we can do so.
And grow from what you're seeing evolve in my life. Don't peg me in your little box or try to discredit me. You know, give me some freaking credit that I'm, as much as I've gone back and forth, I'm still standing here. I'm not some alcoholic. I'm not some dependent. I'm not dependent on anything. You know, I don't take any meds. I'm like, and I won't. You know, this is me. You know, and it's like, I deal with what I have to deal with. And you know, I may fall down, but I'm going to pick myself back up.
Do you think that manspreading is something that he just had to like do because that's what men do? No, this is just this masculine person being comfortable in their skin. This is who they are. This is who he is. It's just how things are. And I know you don't understand. It's okay though. You don't have to. Just love us. Yeah. Is it so hard? Our parents think it is.
Yeah.
Our parents think it is. They think it's hard to love us. I mean,
their loss.
Yeah. It's their loss. But through their loss, through the loss of their love, we're able to love each other even greater. Because we realize that we are the only ones.
Yeah. What we got?
We're the only ones here.
Yeah.
And we have you guys out there, many of you fair weathered fans, many of you agenda-based watchers, you know, that love it when Maritza or Mark or whatever is pushing whatever agenda. But now at this season in our lives, we just want to push love, compassion, decency, kindness, the ability to coexist with one another, not slamming Christianity per se just because, but Christians, please get a sense of what you're doing. Many of you use restraint. Ask God to give you self-control in the comment section. Don't blather on for like,
and don't throw
3,000 or 4,000 paragraphs.
Scriptures,
and don't throw scriptures at us like we're
like
toddlers.
I've read it and
we
I
don't
know, and I've read, and it's like, I don't know, seriously.
If you want to throw a scripture, why don't you throw the Philippians one that says, you know, the things that you should think of, the things that are beautiful, things that are positive, things that are good, things that are, you know, those are the things. Think about 1 Corinthians 13. The greatest of these is love. Right? If you have not love, you're a clanging cymbal. MR. You are being a clanging cymbal. Telling other people to not allow us to speak or to discount our words. That's being
Don't pay attention to that person. They flip-flop and yeah. That's so.
God have mercy on your soul as you hang in the balance between life and death, and God will throw you down into the fiery pits of hell. It's like, who are you? Get your life right. Deal with your repressed feelings and move on. Anyway.
All right, we're done.
We're done. Over and out.
Yeah. Subscribe, hit the notification button, and support the channel. It is now ad-free for your pleasure.
We
We.
love.
I love you, but remember to love yourselves too.